Hello students, I am your English teacher and today we are going to start chapter 8 of class 8 English, and the chapter name is A Short Monsoon Diary. A short monsoon diary gives us a glimpse of the diary written and maintained by Ruskin Bond. A diary is a record of personal experiences written day after day over a long period of time. In his diary, Ruskin Bond wrote about the silent miracles of nature as the mountains receive monsoon showers. The monsoon season in Mussoorie begins around the last week of June and continues till the end of August. The cold rains are welcomed in October till the last darkest cloud in March, which renders the sky clear from the rainbow after it hails. First, I will tell you the summary of the chapter. So, the lesson gives us a glimpses into the diary of Ruskin Bond, and the first day being talked about is June 24. The time around which monsoon begins, he mentions how the mist silences the bird song and conceals the hills, making everything invisible. By June 25, humidity emerges as they begin receiving some early monsoon rain. The first cobra lily rears its head from the ferns. The author describes the hill station and valley in one sentence: a paradise that might have been. The rains also heralds the arrival of a few seasonal visitors like the leopard, lychees, scarlet minivets and drongos. Because of the downpour, there is no dearth of food for the insect-eating birds. He mentions how the rain continued all night on August 2nd. The springing leaks from the tin roof made him feel touched by the rain, while actually remaining untouched. By the 12th day of August, Mussoorie had been receiving showers for a stretch of 8 to 9 days straight. They had nowhere to go. One could only pace in the room or look out of the window. The last day of August marked the peak of the lush monsoon growth. The reddening of the seeds of the lily cobra signified that the rains are about to come to an end and the ferns will now start turning yellow. And with October comes the winter rain bringing snow on the higher altitudes. The late March marks the end of the winter season, when the hill station experiences the darkest clouds that make way for a rainbow to form after it has hailed thus, leaving the sky clear. Now look here, June 24. Here I am reading both the paragraphs. The first day of monsoon mist, and it's strange how all the birds fall silent as the mist comes climbing up the hill. Perhaps that's what makes the mist so melancholy. Not only does it conceal the hills, it blankets them in silence too. Only an hour ago, the trees were ringing with bird song, and now the forest is deathly still as though it were midnight. Through the mist, Biju is calling to his sister. I can hear him running about on the hillside, but I cannot see him. So students, I am briefing this paragraph. The lesson gives us a glimpse into the diary of Ruskin Bond, and the first day being talked about is June 24. The time around which monsoon begins, as it written June 24, is the first day when the mist appeared. The writer calls it strange how all the birds suddenly went silent as a cloud of tiny water droplets climbed up the hill. He tries to explain why the mist is called melancholy by giving two reasons. First, it covers up the mountains and hides the serene view. Second, it silences the birds, hereby bringing sadness. He writes how only an hour before the mist appeared, trees could be heard ringing with the chirping of the birds. But now it was so still and silent that he called the forest deathly, as it felt that it was almost midnight. The writer could hear Biju calling for his sister, but could not see him through the mist. He could anticipate that Biju was running about on the hillside. June 25. Some genuine early monsoon rain, warm and humid and not that cold high altitude stuff we have been having all year. The plants seem to know it too, and the first cobra lily rears its head from the ferns as I walk up to the bank and post office. The mist affords a certain privacy. A schoolboy asked me to describe the hill station and valley in one sentence, and all I could say was a paradise that might have been. Here I am explaining this. On the 25th day of June that year, the hills witnessed some early monsoon rain, which brought with itself warmth and humidity. It's different from the showers the hills receive all year that cools the environment at such high altitude. The plants also knew it very well that the monsoon had arrived as the first cobra lily of the season plunked its head, making its way among the ferns as the writer walked till the bank and the post office. Upon being asked by a schoolboy, the author described the hill station and valley as a paradise that might have been. It means that during monsoon season, the hill station and valley must feel heavenly, which is why it has been referred to as a paradise. Now look at June 27. The rains have heralded the arrival of some seasonal visitors, a leopard, and several thousand lychees. Yesterday afternoon, the leopard lifted a dog from near the servants' quarter below the school. In the evening, it attacked one of Biju's cows but fled at the approach of Biju's mother, who came screaming imprecations. As for the lychees, I shall soon get used to a little bloodletting every day. Other new arrivals are the scarlet minuets, flitting silently among the leaves like brilliant jewels. No matter how leafy the trees, these brightly colored birds cannot conceal themselves. Although by remaining absolutely silent, they sometimes contrive to go unnoticed. Along come a pair of drongos unnecessarily aggressive, chasing the minuets away. Now I am briefing this. Here the rain brought with itself the news of the arrival of a few occasional visitors like the leopard and quite a few thousand lychees. On the afternoon of the day before, the leopard picked up a dog from near the servants' quarter, which was below the school. Not only this, in the evening, it ambushed one of Biju's cow, but ran away as soon as Biju's mother came cursing. With the lychees on the other hand, the writer says that he must get used to losing a little blood to them every day. He mentions a few other names that arrived with the rain, such as the scarlet minuets, bright red birds that look like a cuckoo. However, their female counterparts are yellow in color. They move swiftly and lightly among the leaves, giving the appearance of brilliant jewels around them. These birds are so bright in their color that regardless of how leafy the tree is, it is difficult for them to hide themselves. However, sometimes they manage to go unnoticed by remaining absolutely silent. A bird species named drongos also comes along. Quite unnecessarily aggressive in nature, they chase these minuets away. A tree creeper moves rapidly up the trunk of the oak tree, snapping up insects all the way. Now that the rains are here, there is no dearth of food for the insectivorous birds. So now during this time, a tree creeper climbs up the trunk of the oak tree, carrying insects with it. The rainy season ensures that there is no scarcity of food for the insect-eating birds. Now look at August 2nd. All night the rain has been drumming on the corrugated tin roof. There has been no storm, no thunder, just the steady swish of a tropical downpour. It helps me to lie awake. At the same time, it does not keep me from sleeping. It is a good sound to read by, the rain outside, the quiet within, and although tin roofs are given to springing unaccountable leaks, there is a feeling of being untouched by and yet in touch with the rain. So here I am briefing this. The author wrote on August 2 how the rain had been falling noisily on the corrugated tin roof. There was no storm or thunder, just the smooth falling of the tropical raindrops. It made it easier for the author to lie awake. However, at the same time, it didn't prevent him from falling asleep. He explains how the sound of rain creates a nice atmosphere for reading with the rain outside and silence within. He mentions the usual leaks from the tin roof and how they give you the feeling of having touched you by keeping you untouched. Now look at August 3. The rain stops, the clouds begin to break up, the sun strikes the hill on my left. A woman is chopping up sticks. I hear the tinkle of cowbells in the oak tree. A crow shakes the raindrops from his feathers and cows disconsolately. Water drips from a leaking drain pipe, and suddenly clean and pure the song of the whistling thrush emerges like a dark sweet secret from the depths of the ravine. So in August 3, the author describes as the rain stops on the third day of August. The clouds begin to separate, giving way to the sun on the writer's left. A woman could be seen cutting sticks into smaller pieces, and the tinkle of cowbells could be heard. A crow sitting on the oak tree shook itself to get away with the raindrops on its feathers as it cawed unhappily. And water dripped from the leaking drain pipe that carried off rainwater from the building. As everything settled, the pure song of the whistling thrush could be heard like a dark sweet secret from the depths of the valley. Now look at August 12. Endless rain and a permanent mist. We haven't seen the sun for 8 or 9 days. Everything damp and soggy. Nowhere to go. Pace the room, look out of the window at a few bobbing umbrellas. At least it isn't cold rain. The hillsides are lush as late monsoon flowers begin to appear. Wild balsam, dahlias, begonias and ground orchids. So by August 12, the hills had been experiencing continuous rain and permanent mist. They had not seen the light of the sun for about a good stretch of 8 to 9 days. Everything in the surrounding was slightly wet and moistened. One could not go anywhere. The only option was to move to and fro in the room or look out of the window at a few umbrellas moving suddenly. The author is pleased that it was not cold rain. The vegetation could be seen growing luxuriantly and abundantly on the hillsides as the last monsoon flowers began to blossom. A few flowers that began to appear are wild balsam, dahlias, begonias and ground orchids. Now look at the first paragraph of August 31. It is the last day of August and the lush monsoon growth has reached its peak. The seeds of the cobra lily are turning red, signifying that the rains are coming to an end. Here I am briefing this paragraph. August 31, the last day of the month, also marked the nearing end of the monsoon season. The monsoon vegetation growth had reached its peak by that time, and the color changing of the seeds of the cobra lily to red hinted at the end of the rainy season too. In second paragraph, in a few days the ferns will start turning yellow, but right now they are still firm, green and upright. Ground orchids, Mauve lady sleeper and the white butterfly orchids put on a fashion display on the grassy slopes of Landor. Wild dahlias, red, yellow and magenta, reared their heads from the rocky crevices where they have taken hold. Here, as the next few days pass, the flowerless plants or the ferns will begin turning yellow against their present fresh green color as they stand firm and upright. He mentions how the ground orchids, white butterfly orchids and the Mauve lady sleeper made the grassy slopes of Landor look fashionable. Furthermore, the wild dahlias, red, yellow and magenta turned their heads back towards the narrow openings in the rocks where they had taken hold. Snakes and rodents flooded out of their holes and burrows, take shelter in roofs, attics and godowns. A shrew, weak of eyesight, blunders about the rooms, much to the amusement of the children. Don't kill it, admonishes their grandmother. Chuchundars are lucky. They bring money. And sure enough, I receive a check in the mail, not a very large one, but welcome all the same. Here the snakes and rodents that have come out of their holes and burrows in a huge numbers took shelter in roofs, attics and godowns. A small insectivorous mammal resembling a mouse, namely a shrew with quite a weak eyesight, moved about clumsily in the room. It acted as a source of entertainment for the children. Their grandmother warned them not to kill it because chuchundars, as they are called in Hindi, are known to bring money and prosperity. The author jokes about it and says that he surely received a check in his mail, although not a huge amount, but welcome anyway. Then October 3, we have gone straight from monsoon into winter rain, snow at higher altitudes. After an evening hailstorm, the sky and hills are suffused with a beautiful golden light. So the month of October took the mountains straight into winter rain as it marked the end of the extended monsoon season. The higher altitudes were covered with snow on the third day of October. The sky and hills were bathing in beautiful golden light after experiencing a hailstorm an evening before. Now look at January 26. Winter reigns in the hills, in the hushed silence of the house when I am quite alone, and my friend who was here has gone. It is very lonely, very quiet, and I sit in a liquid silence, a silence within, surrounded by the rhythm of rain, the steady drift of water on leaves, on lemons, on roof, drumming on drenched dahlias and window panes. While the mist holds the house in a dark carriage, as I pause near a window, the rain stops and starts again. And the trees, no longer green but grey, menace me with their loneliness. Now listen the briefing of January 26. So in the month of January, the hills receive winter rains. The author talks about the 26th day of January when he was all alone in the quiet and still house. The friend who accompanied him while ago had also gone. He mentions how it was very lonely and quiet as he sat in complete silence, experiencing the silence within. He was surrounded by the rhythm of the rain, the slow and gentle movement of water on leaves, lemons, and roof as it drummed on already wet dahlias and window panes. The mist covered the house gently in its darkness. As the author stood still near the window, the rain stopped and showered again. He mentions that the trees were now grey and no longer green, threatening him with their loneliness. So now we are at the end of the chapter, March 23. Late March, end of winter, the blackest cloud I have ever seen squatted over Mussoorie, and then it hailed marbles for half an hour. Nothing like a hailstorm to clear the sky. Even as I write, I see a rainbow forming. So in the last paragraph, in March 23, next he writes about late March that marked the end of winter season. He recorded having seen the blackest and darkest cloud resting over Mussoorie. It poured hail that looked like marbles for about 30 minutes. He reveals how there is nothing like a hailstorm that clears the sky. He mentions that even as he was writing his diary, a rainbow was in its formation. So students, our chapter is completed here. Read and revise it once again. Thank you.